we deserve a livable future.
I recognize the member from Eglinton-Lawrence.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today I have the honour to rise before you to speak as part of the third reading of Bill 68, a Plan to Protect Ontario Act Budget Measures 2025, in follow-up to the Minister of Finance, Peter Bethlenfalvy, who began third reading of this bill by outlining the vision behind our government's plan to protect Ontario. A vision to protect our province and its people by building the most competitive economy in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. Madam Speaker, Ontario has faced challenging times before, and each time we have emerged stronger, more united, more prosperous, and more confident in what we can achieve together. Today is no different. Global uncertainty, trade disruptions, and economic headwinds have tested our resilience. But Ontario is not standing still. We are moving forward with a plan to protect our province's positions and use for long-term success. This bill and our government's plan to protect Ontario is about more than responding to global uncertainty and U.S. tariffs. It is about laying the foundation for long-term prosperity by creating the conditions for investment, innovation, and growth in every corner of our province. We are building a more competitive, a more resilient, and a more self-reliant economy. An economy that protects Ontario not just from tariffs, but from anything that comes our way for decades to come. Our plan is clear, Madam Speaker, and it is to make Ontario the best place in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. Madam Speaker, competitiveness begins with lowering costs for businesses and creating a tax environment that rewards investment and growth. We have a commitment to take significant steps to reduce costs for businesses to help them become more competitive. Our government's key actions on this matter would enable an estimated $11.7 billion in cost savings and support for Ontario businesses in 2025. Further to that, $5.6 billion of those would go to small businesses in our province. Some of those actions include the Ontario-made Manufacturing Investment Tax Credit and its proposed temporary expansion and enhancement, something that has been talked about at length during second reading of this bill. It also includes other measures as well. Measures such as cutting the gasoline tax rate by 5.7 cents per litre and the fuel tax rate by 5.3 cents per litre, helping businesses and families to keep their costs down. Supporting the reduction of the WSIB premium rate, which is now the lowest in 50 years, saving Ontario employers approximately an estimated $60 million in 2026. Increasing the employer health tax exemption to $1 million and help businesses by reducing the tax for eligible private sector employers. Helping small businesses thrive by reducing the small business corporate income tax rate to 3.2% and expanding access to this preferential rate, and providing a 6-month interest and penalty relief period for select provincially administered taxes. These are some of the measures we have taken, Madam Speaker, but not the only ones, because we know we need to do more. This is why our government will continue delivering on its plan to protect our workers, our businesses, and our communities by developing a multi-year tax action plan. Developing Ontario's tax action plan will help make Ontario the most competitive jurisdiction in Canada. Our government's work will focus on updating Ontario's personal and corporate income taxes, to encourage and attract more business investment, to help improve our competitiveness, and to lower costs or provide relief for individuals and families. But competitiveness, Madam Speaker, is not only about costs. It's also about positioning Ontario for the economy of tomorrow. This is why we're positioning Ontario's defence industry for growth. The government will continue supporting Canada's national defence by exploring additional ways to support local industries in producing and providing made-in-Ontario goods and technologies for the defence sector. We have already started. As part of the 2025 budget, we announced an additional investment of $90 million in venture capital funding through Venture Ontario. That investment, Madam Speaker, includes $50 million to Ontario-based venture capital funds focused on technologies that support national defence, such as artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Investments such as these will ensure Ontario is not just a participant in the Canadian defence economy, but a leader. This would help these projects start and advance faster while maintaining stringent safeguards and standards for environmental protection and fulfilling the province's duty to consult with Indigenous communities. When international investors look for a home for their project or investment of money, Madam Speaker, they want speedy and certain decisions and sound partnerships. As global trade tensions and U.S. tariffs continue to challenge our economy, Ontario is responding with strength and purpose. The government continues to reinforce our competitiveness and resilience by attracting major investments through Invest Ontario. The province's one-window investment attraction agency provides investors with streamlined access to expertise, tailored services, and financial support through the Invest Ontario Fund. Earlier this year, our government brought the total fund to $1.3 billion by allocating an additional $600 million to it. The results speak for themselves, Madam Speaker. To date, Invest Ontario has announced more than $8.2 billion in investments, which are expected to create over 10,200 good-paying jobs across the province. These are not just numbers. They represent the opportunities for Ontario workers, growth for Ontario businesses, and prosperity for Ontario communities. Madam Speaker, strong capital markets are essential for investment and growth. Our government's commitment to make Ontario a global hub for entrepreneurial finance is unwavering. The Ontario Securities Commission is already implementing forward-looking reforms to ensure Ontario competes at the highest international standards. These reforms are reducing regulatory burden and accelerating access to capital that fuels cutting-edge technologies, job creation, and sustained economic growth. We will continue to work closely with the Ontario Securities Commission and other key partners to increase capital formation in the province and Canada. And credit unions, Madam Speaker, are another fundamental pillar of our province's financial ecosystem. This is why this bill in front of us today includes measures to enable credit unions to raise alternative capital to unlock new growth opportunities. Through Bill 68, the government is now proposing amendments to the Credit Unions and Credit Unions Act 2020 that would allow credit unions to raise capital for non-members while giving them flexibility on how to structure the assurance of securities. The changes being proposed today would expand credit unions' access to public and private sources of capital, enabling them to scale up, innovate, and strengthen capital formation across Ontario's economy. Madam Speaker, the ability to take these bold actions and put forward this plan rests on a foundation of fiscal strength. It is because of our government's unwavering commitment to fiscal prudence that Ontario's finances are stronger than they have been in over a decade. Our plan to protect Ontario is a blueprint for a stronger, more competitive province, Madam Speaker. It is about creating the conditions for growth, ensuring that Ontario is a more competitive, more resilient, and more self-reliant. That Ontario becomes the best place in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. Our plan invests in people, in businesses, and in communities. It strengthens our economy by cutting red tape, investing in infrastructure, supporting workers, improving public services, and making life more affordable. Let us seize this moment to protect Ontario, not just for today, but for generations to come. As I stand here today, I call on all members to vote in favour of Bill 68. Thank you, Madam Speaker.